After yet another fruitless pursuit to acquire a star by the New York Knicks, who failed to land Donovan Mitchell despite being the odds-on favorite, the long-suffering franchise once again finds itself looking internally for its savior. That conversation starts with RJ Barrett, who just signed a 4-year extension worth up to $120 million with the Knicks, becoming New York's first lottery pick to sign a multi-year second contract with the club since 1999. That puts an immense amount of pressure on Barrett, who hasn't quite reached stardom like his fellow classmen John Morant, Zion Williamson, and Darius Garland. But while his development has been slow out the gate, Barrett is primed to have a breakout campaign in 2022-2023. And maybe, just maybe, he can become the centerpiece of a new future in the Big Apple. It wasn't too long ago that Barrett was being discussed as a potential #1 overall pick in a loaded 2019 draft class. After all, the Canadian product was touted as Maple Mamba through high school and in his time playing at Duke alongside Zion. Simply put, expectations were set astronomically high for the youngster right out the gate. Unlike Morant, Williamson, and Garland though, who have all become all-stars in their short time in the league, Barrett's first 3 seasons in the NBA have been a bit of a roller coaster ride. One that has shown glimpses of his tantalizing talent, but has also exposed him as a real work in progress. For instance, of 287 players who logged more than 2,500 minutes since his 2019 rookie season, Barrett ranks 276th in effective field goal percentage and 277th in true shooting percentage. Not so good. Still, he has quietly but steadily improved in almost every facet of his game in those 3 years, becoming a better shooter, hitting almost 35% of his shots from behind the arc on just under 6 attempts a game last season, a better scorer, going from 14 points per game in his rookie year to just over 20 last season, and most importantly, becoming arguably the Knicks' most versatile wing defender.
Here tonight, Levine misses Barrett, another rebound. Barrett's played some terrific defense tonight.
Ultimately, heading into his 4th season in the NBA, Barrett has turned himself into a good starter in the league. But looking forward, how can he take that to the next level and become a star in New York? Well, first we need to understand Barrett's strengths. He's a strength-based creator, meaning he leverages his size and body to create advantages for himself and others. He's also long and athletic, which helps him get to the rim at will, ranking in the 83rd percentile for his position at rim frequency, according to Cleaning the Glass. And he's become a potent catch-and-shoot player from behind the arc too, hitting on nearly 37% of his spot-up threes on almost 5 attempts per game last season. Barrett has also steadily improved as a playmaker and ranks in the 94th percentile for his position in terms of playmaking talent, according to B-Ball Index. And finally, he's turned himself into a well-rounded wing defender who can guard multiple positions on the perimeter while also being pesky in passing lanes, helping force turnovers and get the Knicks out and running. And now for the weaknesses. While Barrett gets to the rim at will, he only finishes on 55% of his shots there, ranking in the 15th percentile for his position. And even though Barrett has improved as an off-ball shooter, he doesn't necessarily use his size and athleticism to punch gaps and attack closeouts, not making defenses pay on late rotations. He's also not a great isolation scorer or pull-up shooter yet, so he doesn't necessarily create a ton of clean looks without another player setting him up. But there is a chance those weaknesses can be mitigated by the Knicks' big splash signing this offseason. You see, in his 3 seasons in New York, Barrett hasn't played with a proper point guard, especially a point guard who can space the floor. Enter Jalen Brunson, the Knicks' new sturdy, left-handed floor general who can shoot, create for others, and find shooters, making life easier for the likes of Barrett. Brunson ranked 13th in the NBA last season on 3-point assists, which should only help open things up even more for RJ. With Brunson in the lineup, Barrett will have more space to finish around the basket. He won't be forced to chuck up bad shots in isolation because Brunson will be able to find him cutting off ball or popping out to hit an open 3. In theory, a player like Brunson helps Barrett become the best version of himself, an off-ball scoring machine. And it seems as though the two have already started developing their chemistry together on the court. Now it's up to Barrett, whose work ethic has been praised by many of his teammates and colleagues, to take that next step and maybe even put himself in the conversation for most improved player next season. And that's exactly why New York signed him to an extension that at this point may be an overpay, because they're paying him for the type of player he can be in the very near future. The new extension also includes all-star and all-defense incentives precisely because Barrett does have the potential to reach that level. And now with the on-court context favoring his skill set even more, there's room for his game to finally blossom. While Barrett might be a little late to the party compared to the rest of his draft class, his story so far tells us that context and fit matter. And while player development is rarely a linear line, there is still room for a player with as tantalizing of a skill set as Barrett to break through to the next level. And with the parts around him making even more sense now, Barrett can go out there and be the best version of himself possible. And in turn, that could bode well for New York, the franchise that doubled down on their belief in him. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.